What is up, C&Z Nation? This is your boy Carlton here with all things movies and all. Alright, guys, so the today is going to be a little something different. We're going to be talking, as you guys know from my recent Godzilla movie review, I'm actually going to be giving you all my speculation for the future of the Godzilla franchise. As we already know from confirmed news, we know that Godzilla is not getting not one, but two sequels. So as we know, we see a Godzilla trilogy in the works. Now, I'm not only going to be talking about what we could possibly see in the trilogy, but I might be talking about things such as like franchise crossovers, possibly with Pacific Rim. That would be a possibility. Pacific Rim versus Godzilla, Warner Brothers, please make it happen. But without further ado, let's talk about it. First, be warned, there are some spoilers in this. So if you haven't seen Godzilla, if you haven't seen Pacific Rim, I don't know what rock you've been living under, but But for those who want to continue through the video, please stay tuned. Alright, so what we've seen from the Godzilla in the recent movie, one of the things that definitely stood out to me was in one of the scenes where Aaron Taylor Johnson and Bryan Cranston are going back to their old home in Japan, which was like kind of like a radioactive like so-called radioactive filled area. One of the things I noticed was there was like some type of like little thing that looked like a fish tank or something, and it was kind of like to hold like bugs and stuff in. And I noticed this one thing that said Mothra. Yes, we've seen Warner Brothers is known for doing Easter eggs. Like for instance, with Man of Steel, we had the Wayne Enterprises thing going on up in there. So definitely this was an interesting thing. I mean, as we know, the Moto or whatever that monster was called in the Godzilla movie, like that definitely set up this whole called world for Kaiju. And I liked how in the movie they related back to certain situations where they had the nuclear test of 54, which was a good tie-in to the King of the Monsters kind of vibe. And then one of the things I liked though in the end was how a lot of people began to question Godzilla. I mean, there was a headline at the very end of it where Godzilla was going into the sea, and it said, Godzilla, King of the Monsters or Savior of the City. And so if we don't see Mothra in a sequel, which I think that could happen, then I mean that could definitely bring some like more human characters if they continue to keep like Aaron Taylor Johnson and the other girl that like plays Scarlet Witch in Avengers Age of Ultron. So I mean, definitely to keep those human characters in there, so there is somewhat of a continuity. So that would make sense to have Mothra in there. Another thing I thought of, I think Mechagodzilla should definitely make an appearance. Whether it's in, he could probably be saved for the third movie, or he could even be in the second movie if he wanted to, because the world starts to question Godzilla and how he could really be a threat, and he could come back again, because Godzilla doesn't die in this, of course not. So I think from a lot of the, you guys have seen like Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, like with like alien and human races like created Mechagodzilla to combat Godzilla. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but Mechagodzilla was a mechanical creature that was used to combat Godzilla, and even overtake him. And so the thing is, that would make a lot of sense because the army in the movie had a lot of like were trying so hard to try to combat these kaiju, but they really couldn't, and then they had to rely on Godzilla, but they don't know if Godzilla in their minds could go rogue and end up trying to like destroy the world, but they don't understand that Godzilla is just simply like he is a god, and so he basically is very he this world is his territory, and like all animals, we we have to fight for our territory. So that would make it would be cool if we had a Ghidorah in there, like maybe if they did like this huge thing for an event, maybe this could be later, but they do like a destroy all monsters kind of vibe where they have all the kaiju in there. And now on to another subject. I think Pacific Rim and Godzilla need to have some type of crossover. And let me talk to you guys how that could possibly work. One, Pacific Rim was taken, like the storyline is set in the future around 2020. So there, or even further. But the thing is, Godzilla was happening in the modern day, and Pacific Rim is happening towards the future. I mean, it could work where maybe this could be like a versus film where we have like Godzilla fighting off the Pacific Rim robots, and maybe it's not even in the time period where Pacific Rim took place, where it was like kind of close to the end of the world. What if like Godzilla and the whole kind of humanity uprising to like stop Godzilla happened with the Jaegers, and like they were trying to so they were all trying to fight. Maybe that'd be cool to see Gypsy and Pacific Rim have that big epic fight. And we can't maybe we could possibly see a young like we could maybe see Idris Elba come back, because if it's going to happen before the timeline of the original Pacific Rim, then that could definitely work. Or if they would do it as in like it was a sequel to Pacific Rim and a sequel to Godzilla, then they could definitely, you know, like there may be some ties to what happened and stuff. But I think just you guys don't have to take my word, but just for the idea of seeing these two big franchises, because now Legendary Pictures and Warner Brothers obviously own the rights to both of them. They belong to them. They're their property. So that can make in a whole lot of this money in cash to try to bring it in. But it's not always just my opinion that counts, but it's your guys' opinion. So be sure to like, subscribe, share this video. Be sure to like C&ZCinemas on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And the links will be down below. And sound off in the comments, guys. What is okay? So, what do you guys think could happen? What monsters would you guys like to see in Godzilla 2 and 3? And what do you guys think of the idea of a Pacific Rim Godzilla crossover? If you guys don't want to sound off in the comments, just definitely message us on Facebook about us. And I'm glad, and me and Zach and all the other crew will be glad to respond. Alright guys, signing off.